Hello, this is Robbie Blackhall-Miles and welcome to Up Buttercup, my new podcast looking at the queer space that the LGBT plus community holds in nature. I have a question for you. Have you ever been called a pansy? I don't know about you, but I quite like pansies. Actually, I really like flowers, particularly yellow ones. Dandelions, pansies, daffodils, buttercups. But you see, that was the problem. I was the kid that was into flowers and not football. Pansy was just one of the names I was given in school. But isn't it funny how one flower can be used as a slur and another a term of endearment? I am, and always have been, a nature nerd. I started coming out at the age of 15 years old, and at the time I worked on the weekends at our local zoo. Before that, I'd helped out at a florist shop. The flower shop brought me the most ridicule from the other kids in school. It was pretty horrific, and actually it was because of the flower shop that I had my first gay bashing. But the main thing that bothered them was my sexuality, not the flowers. When things got rough, I turned to nature. I always have done. I'd spend hours watching birds, looking for wildflowers and caring for all my varied pets. As a kid, I'd spend literally all day on a Sunday mooching up and down the stream, looking at dippers and brook lime and trying to catch the fish. And it was my space of safety. It was a space where I could just be me. I found a huge amount of solace in that place. I knew, though, as a queer human, that I needed to find a tribe. So I, very early on, started to spend time on the gay scene around Manchester, Liverpool, London. That scene was a place where, just like in school, there was an expectation on me to be and act in a specific way. So I changed my life to be accepted. I ended up working in fashion. I trained as a hairdresser and makeup artist. I ran a bar in the evenings. I even worked as a drag queen. I, through that life, travelled all over Britain and Europe. But, you know, something about it never made me happy. The place where I find happiness is among flowers. Nature's really very important to me. Did you know that the colours of the rainbow flag each originally had a specific meaning? Gilbert Baker, when he was commissioned to create the flag by Harvey Milk, assigned sex to the hot pink in the rainbow flag. Yep, the rainbow flag originally had pink. Life was given to red, healing to the orange, sunshine to the yellow, nature to the band of green, art and magic to turquoise, serenity was indigo. And violet represented spirit, our spirit. Now, of course, it's the yellow I'm attracted to most. It's my favourite colour. We all need some sunshine in our lives. And a fundamental fact about sunshine is it's made of all the colours of the rainbow. Nothing, I feel, on this planet is quite as natural as sunlight. During the daytime, the sunshine is always there, even if it's hidden behind the clouds. And, you know, as a child, you're taught that it's that reflected yellow light from a buttercup that shows if we like butter or not. But for me, it's that green bit that's most important. Nature, over the past couple of years, has been particularly important. A whole bunch of things have happened that made me realise just how important nature is. From working to change the fortunes of a very, very rare beetle here in North Wales on Yr Wyddfa, the highest mountain in England and Wales, to actively participating in equality, diversity and inclusion discussions in a handful of NGOs or environmental non-government organisations. And last year, to teaching a bunch of very wonderful LGBTQ+ young people about nature in my local area. I am now fortunate to have that green space in the Pride flag as part of my work. I work in a nature community that accepts my sexuality. In fact, they just accept me for being who I am. Yet, I still hold trauma. I hold trauma from my youth and the way that people reacted to me in the past. But I also hold a trauma that's far greater than that, and that's the trauma from my LGBTQIA community. That trauma from all those decades, centuries of not having been accepted in society, particularly in modern society. The negativity that stood alongside that. So, where do I go to deal with that trauma? Well, I go to the place that I've always gone to. More often than not, I find there's a space for me in nature. There is a patch of land high above one of Wales's first National Nature Reserve, which is absolutely full of flowers. And when I'm having the worst times, that's where I'll go and sit. There's so many studies out there that show that having access to nature is important for all of our health and well-being needs. But in particular, I want to highlight the 2024 report on the state of mental health in LGBTQ young people. This report showed that nearly 1 in 5 LGBTQ+ young people in the UK, that's 19%, had attempted suicide. And more than half of respondents had considered it. And the figures, when you look at them worldwide, are similar or worse. Back when I was a teenager, I would have been part of those statistics. That green in the flag doesn't only point towards nature, but it's there to remind us that we are natural. The natural world is full of a huge range of sexual and gender diversity. Homosexuality has been observed in over 1,500 animal species, birds, mammals, invertebrates, fish. And gender transition is seen in nearly 500 fish species alone. And don't even get me started on gender norms in flowers or sexuality in fungi. Those subjects are definitely reserved for episodes of this podcast. And so too this podcast. Keeping all of that I've just talked about in mind, I started thinking about that space we, as the queer community, hold in nature. That broad band of green in our tribe's uniting flag. How can I reflect light on that space? And who are the other nature nerds that are doing so too? How has nature helped and healed a community so traumatised by our past? And how can it help and heal at a time of huge trauma again? How can we understand our normality through nature? and celebrate gender and sexual differences through that. So, here it is. I'm not sure where this thing I'm embarking on is going to go, and to be honest, I'm finding it quite scary jumping into this big green space with both my bare feet. I figured that just like when I first started coming out, I'd speak to my friends in this world as my first port of call. And so many of the guests that are going to come on this podcast are people that I've known for quite a long time. Others are people that I've known through social media and reached out to more recently. But even so, it needed to be a safe space for me, because only through that could it be a safe space for you. Now, I'm very aware that being a cis gay man, that means that my social circle is going to be full of other cis gay men, and that means that a lot of the people that I'm going to speak to on this podcast are in that bit of our amazing diverse community. But I hope as time goes on that conversation and those conversations will expand to other areas of our community, and that the diversity of people I'll get the opportunity to speak to will increase. In fact, you know what? I'm pretty sure they will. The conversations are going to be tough at times. I'm expecting some serious trigger warnings. I'm also expecting some tears. I'm really good at crying myself. But I'm also really hoping for and expecting laughter and a huge amount of queer joy. I am definitely going to get my scripts wrong. I'm going to ask questions and say inappropriate things. I am certain there's going to be some hardcore language here. And my terminology around sexuality and gender is going to be all over the place. I'm 47 now. I came out when I was 15. The world has changed a lot. But most of all, expect to hear the voices of amazing people talking about nature and their queer experiences of it and in it, as I reflect that buttercup light on them and ask them the question, what's up, Buttercup? That question, that light that I can shine, is done so in an endearing way. That endearment that comes in a flower. Not like Pansy was for me when I was a kid, but in something that is so gentle, that reflects light, the whole broad range of the spectrum of light of our community. So, welcome to What's Up Buttercup, my new podcast looking at that green bit in the rainbow flag.